Hi guys, today we're going to be filming a glittery eye and a glossy lip on my favorite face, Fufu. So I start off with my YSL primer and I massage this into the face with my hands because I want to start stimulating her skin. By first activating the skin, you're actually going to reduce puffiness and you're going to make it more malleable and brighter. And you obviously don't want to forget about the lips, so I'm using a lavender lip balm here. I take my Urban Decay eye primer and I apply that with my finger. I then go in and blend everything out with the brush. I want to make sure that there's no creasing. This is the base of my eyeshadow and it's going to affect the way the eyeshadow adheres and blends out. For the eyes, I begin with my Natasha Denona Tropic palette. I use the shade Sahara, which is a fawn color, and I'm going to use this as my transition shade. I take my Makeup Forever 242 brush and I begin to blend that color into the crease. You can use any light brown or yellowish tan as a transition color because the point of this step is to literally transition whatever color is on your lid to your brow bone. To build up the outer V, I actually like to use my MAC 217 because it's a little bit of a tighter blending brush, so it's going to enable you to have more control over where you're placing the eyeshadow. There are two things you want to do when you work the outer V. You first of all want to make sure when you're taking the eyeshadow out that you're pulling it upwards because this is going to lift the eye. You second of all want to make sure that you don't take the eyeshadow too far past the eyebrow. This is going to be the foundation or the outline of the eyeshadow, so you want to make sure you have a nice, even, and blended shape before you start to add on any more colors. Now I pick up the color Sienna, which is actually a single by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I use my 217 MAC brush to work the outer V. Both of these colors, Sienna and Sahara, have copper undertones, so they're going to blend really nicely together. I use C-like motions to work the color into the outer V, and I take just a little bit in the crease. Just to be clear, the outer V is the outer corner of the eye that extends from the lash line to the crease, forming that sideways V shape. You often use a dark matte color here because you want to push this part of the eye back and then bring the inner V forward. So there you would use a lighter color or a shimmer. Now I'm going to pick out my Natasha Denona No. 2 eyeshadow palette and I'm going to use the color called Maroon. With that same 217 brush, I'm just going to continue to darken up and push back that outer V. For the inner V, I'm going to use the No. 9 palette. I begin with the color called Indian Gold. I use a flat MAC 242 brush to put this color on the lid. I'm not going to be doing any blending here, I just want to deposit the color. Using that same palette, I pick up the color Glam Green, and I use the MAC 228 brush, which is essentially a smaller version of the last brush, and I begin to put this color in the inner corner right under the crease. This step is going to create more dimension on the eyelid, and it's also going to make the brightest part of the eyeshadow right next to her iris. So this is going to really open up the eye and give it that bright look. Now I take a clean MAC 224 brush, and I just want to make sure everything is blending really smoothly into the brow bone. Lastly, I go back in with my 217 and I want to make sure that the inner and the outer V are transitioning smoothly, there's no harsh lines, and everything is blended. Now I do a base eyeliner with pencil and an angled brush and black eyeshadow. I'm going to go in with glitter and then again with liquid liner, so this is just going to help me find the line later on. Now I'm going to pick up my Makeup Forever Star Powder in the color 13. I spray my brush with MAC Fix Plus and then I dip it in the loose shimmer. I then take it and dab it onto the eyelid. You don't want to swipe or blend, you just want to dab and the shimmer will fall onto the eye, and that's how you're going to blend it out. I take this all the way up to the crease and I just keep dabbing. And I wanted this to be a little bit more glittery, so I went in again with the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder in the shade Illuminating, and I use this same process. Then when I'm done with all the loose pigment, I go in with my liquid liner, and this step is a breeze because I already have that base there. Fallout was inevitable with this look, so just take a makeup wipe and clean everything up. Now I use my Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation in the color Y305. I use this foundation a lot because although it's full coverage, it's very easy to layer on with other makeup. And making sure I have a damp beauty blender, I dab everything out with the bottom of the sponge. For brows, I use the Makeup Forever Aqua Brow, a small angled brush, and a spoolie, and I begin to use the feathering technique to draw out the individual brow hairs. For areas of the face that I want to pull forward, I use the NARS Radiant Concealer in the colors Chantilly and Custard. I begin with Chantilly and I begin to put that in a triangle shape under the eyes. I'm going to use Custard in between Chantilly and the contour. This way it's going to be very easy to blend in the contour and the face is going to transition very smoothly from dark to light. Going back in with that side of the damp beauty blender, I begin to push this into the skin. You want to make sure you're not dragging or swiping the product. For areas that tend to crease easy, such as the corners of the mouth or the under eye, I go in with my Sephora airbrush in the number 57. To set the under eyes, I use the MAC Loose Foundation in the color Medium. This looks like a banana powder and it's going to create a really beautiful natural finish for those people with olive undertones. I mix the shade Iridescent Purple, which has cool undertones. It's a single eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and the Natasha Denona maroon color that I used earlier to do the under eye. The colors are pretty dark, so just to be safe, I'm going to use a tissue to catch any fallout. To sculpt her face, I'm going to pick up my Smashbox contour sticks in the color Bronze, and I'm going to contour the forehead, the cheekbone, the jaw, the chin, and the nose. I love these because they're super easy to draw on the face and you can sharpen them in between clients. I blend this all out with my MAC stippling brush. When blending, you don't want to move the color around too much. You just want to create that gradient from the highlight to the contour, but you want to keep the contour in the place where you want to create shadow in the face. In doing so, you're going to create the illusion of those high feminine cheekbones. With a clean, soft brush, I dust off all the baking powder and I set the rest of her face with my Kat Von D Shade to Light palette in the color Lyric. To further sculpt out those cheekbones, I'm going to use my Fenty Match Sticks in the color French Vanilla. You can use any concealer for this, and I'm going to draw from the trigger to the corner of the lip. Then I blend it out with that same MAC stippling brush, and this is just going to enhance the cheekbones even further. From that same Kat Von D palette, I grab the color Shadow Play and I set and soften my contour. For the blush, I use the color in the center and the top right from the Morphe palette, and I mix those together with my kabuki brush, and I dab that onto the skin in an upward U motion, starting from the apple of her cheeks into the contour. Picking up my NYX lip liner in the color Nutmeg, I begin to draw out the lips. I wanted to create that 90s overdrawn pout, so I wanted to be sure I chose a lip liner that had a creamier consistency. It's okay if the liner is a lot darker than the lip color, you just want to be able to blend the lipstick in with the liner, and that's how you're going to create that look. If you use a lip liner that isn't creamy, the lip liner will look way too harsh. Then I grab my YSL lipstick in the shade 218, which is a pinkier flesh tone, and I begin to paint this on the lips with my NARS lip brush. I love this brush because it's angled and it's long, so it's really good for precision and you can get in the corners of the mouth. Then I darken the corners with that lip liner to create an ombre effect. To give her skin that glowy, reflective look, I grab my Laura Mercier Illuminating powder in the shade Candlelight, and I begin to tap that on the face. I love this powder because of its ability to blend in. A lot of highlighters are kind of tacky and they don't apply that smoothly, but this one is wonderful. I also slim the nose a little bit with the highlighter by going up and down the bridge and a little bit on the tip. The Benefit Bad Gal Bang is my all-time favorite mascara because its ability to layer and lengthen, but you want to make sure you do the bottom mascara after you're done using all the powders on the face because the powder can stick to the mascara after you apply it and it's really hard to get off. I take my MAC lip gloss in the shade Little Lovely and I begin to only apply that in the center of her lips. This lip gloss literally looks like glass. A little goes a long way and it's highly reflective. I love it when it's used right. Because I use so much shimmer on the eyes, I want to make sure I set the look, and for this I use my MAC Fix Plus Spray. And that's the completed look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please be sure to subscribe in the link below.